The light is changing on the wall again. I've been watching it move inch by inch across the plaster. It catches the texture of the paint, those little bumps and ridges that you never notice when you're young, when you're rushing through a room to get your keys or your coat. Now the wall is a landscape, a slow, gray geography. I suppose I've been sitting in this chair for, well, I don't know how long. My tea is sitting there on the side table. I can see no steam rising from it anymore. It's likely cold. Unpleasant, probably. But I don't have the will to reach for it just yet. My shoulder has that dull, familiar ache, the one that lives deep in the joint, like a sleeping animal that wakes up whenever the air pressure drops. It feels like rain is coming. You can smell it, even with the windows closed. That distinct, metallic scent of wet pavement and old dust. That smell, it takes me back. It pulls at a thread in the back of my mind. It wasn't raining then, though. No, it was hot. Unbearably hot. It was a parking lot, just a stretch of black asphalt outside a grocery store. A Tuesday. Or maybe a Thursday. It doesn't matter. It was a weekday. I was 62, 63, still working, still wearing a tie, though I had loosened it. I remember the sensation of the collar against my neck, damp with sweat, chafing slightly. I was in a hurry. I was always in a hurry then. I thought time was something you had to outrun. I thought if I moved fast enough, I could fit everything in. I was walking to my car. I had 2 plastic bags in my hands. I can remember the way the thin plastic handles cut into my fingers. Milk, bread, something for dinner. The mundane weight of living. The heat was radiating off the cars, that shimmering, oily heat that distorts the air. I just wanted to get into the air conditioning. I just wanted to turn the key and hear the engine and drive away from the noise of the carts and the people. And then I saw him, Arthur. He was standing by the trunk of his car, a beige sedan. I think it was a Buick. It had a dent in the rear bumper. Arthur he was older than I was then. Maybe 75. A neighbor, technically. He lived 3 streets over. We weren't friends. We were nodding acquaintances. The kind of men who wave while mowing the lawn but never cross the property line. He was just standing there. He wasn't loading groceries. He was leaning against the hot metal of his car, staring at his shoes. He looked loose, like the strings holding him upright had gone slack. I almost walked past. I had the keys in my hand. My thumb was already tracing the unlock button. I had a trajectory. I had a plan. But he looked up, and he saw me. "Hello," he said. Just that. "Hello." But the way he said it, it wasn't a greeting. It was an anchor. It was a hook thrown out into the dark water, hoping to catch something solid. I stopped. I had to. Civility required it. That social contract we all sign without reading. I shifted the heavy bags to one hand, feeling the plastic stretch. I checked my watch. A reflex. A rude one, I see that now. But at the time it was just habit. "Hey Arthur," I said. "Hot one today." I didn't look him in the eye. I was looking at the heat waves rising off the hood of his car. I was looking at the traffic on the main road, calculating how long it would take me to get home. "Yes," he said. "It is." He didn't move to open his car door. He just stood there, wearing a checkered shirt that looked too heavy for the weather. He was rubbing his hands together, slow, dry movements, like he was trying to warm them up despite the 90-degree heat. I was just at the pharmacy," he said. I nodded. I took a half step toward my car. "Yeah? Getting everything sorted?" I was rushing him. I was using my body language to push him away, to signal that the interaction was over. I was already leaning away. "They changed the labels," Arthur said. His voice was thin, scratchy. "The bottles are different. I couldn't read the small print." "Ah, well," I said, forcing a tight, efficient smile. "You got it figured out, though, right?" He looked at me then. Really looked at me. His eyes were watery, pale blue, rimmed with red. There was a desperation there that I didn't want to see. I didn't want to carry it. I had my own life. I had meetings the next day. I had a lawn to mow. I had milk that was getting warm. My wife, he started. Then he stopped. He looked down at his shoes again. She always handled the prescriptions. She knew which ones were for the morning and which were for the night. His wife had died 6 months prior. I knew that. I had sent a card, a generic card with a generic message. Thinking of you. Right, I said. It's tough. It takes time. I looked at my watch again, blatantly this time. Listen, Arthur, I've got frozen stuff in the bag. I better get this home. I cut him off. I severed the line. He nodded. He retreated immediately. He shrank back into himself, like a snail touching salt. Oh, of course, of course. Don't let the ice cream melt. He tried to smile. It was a terrible, broken thing, that smile. Take care, Arthur, I called out over my shoulder. I got in my car. I slammed the door. I started the engine and cranked the AC up to high. The cold air hit my face, drying the sweat. I felt relieved. I felt efficient. I had escaped. I backed out, and I saw him in the rearview mirror. He was still standing there, leaning against the beige car, just watching me drive away. My knee is stiff. I need to move it, but if I do, the joint will crack, and the sound will seem too loud in this quiet room. The silence in this house is thick. It has a weight to it. It settles in the corners like dust. I live alone now. I have for 8 years, 9. The days blur together. The calendar on the wall is still on last month. I haven't bothered to turn the page. What does it matter if it's October or November? The light is the same. The cold tea is the same. I think about that parking lot often. More often than I should. Because Arthur died 2 weeks after that. A heart attack, they said. Or a stroke. I don't remember exactly. I just remember seeing the obituary in the local paper. I was drinking coffee, hot coffee, and I saw his picture. He looked younger in the photo, stronger, and I realized that 10 minutes in the parking lot, that was probably one of the last conversations he tried to have. He wasn't talking about prescriptions. He wasn't talking about the heat. He was terrified. He was lonely. He was standing in a vast, hot, indifferent world, and he just wanted another human being to stand with him for a moment, to validate that he existed, to witness his confusion. He wanted 10 minutes, and I gave him 2. And those 2 minutes were filled with me looking at my watch. It changed me. Not overnight. It wasn't a lightning bolt. It was slower than that. It was like water dripping on a stone. I started hearing my own voice differently. Before that, I spoke to convey information. I spoke to get things done. My words were tools, hammers, screwdrivers. Pass the salt. Sign this form. Did you call the plumber? I'll be home at 6. Asterisk. But after Arthur, after I realized that I had left a man alone in a parking lot because I was worried about ice cream, I started to hear the silence behind the words. I realized that when people speak to you, especially when they are old or tired or strangers, they are rarely talking about the thing they are talking about. The cashier who tells you it's going to rain, she's not a meteorologist. She's saying, I am here. Are you here? The man at the bus stop complaining about the schedule, he's saying, I have no control over my life right now, and I need someone to nod and tell me it's unfair. I started to slow down. I remember a few months later, I was at the hardware store. I was buying a washer for a leaky tap, a small thing. I was still working then, still busy, but the man behind the counter, a fellow with grease under his fingernails and a name tag that was crooked, he started telling me about his dog. She's got this limp, he said, staring at the register. Vet says it's arthritis, 12 years old. The old me would have said, that's a shame. and tapped my credit card on the machine. But I saw Arthur's beige car in my mind. I saw the heat rising off the asphalt, so I put my card down. I leaned against the counter. I let my shoulders drop. "What kind of dog?" I asked, and we talked. For 10 minutes. We talked about Labradors and hips and how hard it is to watch something you love get slow. I didn't look at my watch. I didn't shift my weight toward the door. I stood there. I occupied the space with him. And when I left, he looked me in the eye and said, "Thanks. Take it easy." And he meant it. And I felt lighter. Now I am the man in the parking lot. That is the irony, isn't it? The circle closes. I am the one standing by the trunk of the car. Metaphorically speaking. I don't drive much anymore. They took my license away last year. My eyes. The reaction time. It's for the best, I know. But the world has shrunk. It used to be the size of the highway. Now it is the size of this room. The size of this chair. When the nurse comes, Sarah, I think her name is, or maybe Sandra, she comes on Tuesdays and Fridays. She checks my blood pressure. She organizes the pills, the bottles with the labels I can't read. She is young, always in a rush. She smells of sanitizer and cheap coffee. She has a phone that buzzes in her pocket every 3 minutes. She asks, "How are we feeling today?" She doesn't want an answer. She wants a confirmation code. She wants to check the box. I start to tell her about the light on the wall. I start to tell her about the bird I saw on the feeder this morning, a cardinal, bright red against the gray sky. And I see her eyes drift. I see her glance at the clock on the microwave. I see her body angling toward the door. She is me. She is the man with the melting ice cream. And I am Arthur. I don't blame her. I can't. I invented that impatience. I perfected it. It's the currency of the young. They think they are spending time, but they are just wasting presence. So I speak differently now. Not just slower, but with more space. When I speak, I try to make the words soft. I try to make them a place where someone can rest. I don't use many words anymore. I hoard them. I polish them like old coins. If I get the chance to speak to someone, the mail carrier, the delivery boy, the wrong number on the telephone, I treat it like a fragile thing. I realize now that a conversation is a landscape. You can walk through it with your head down, marching toward the destination, or you can stop. You can look at the trees. You can feel the ground under your feet. I wish I could go back to that parking lot. I close my eyes and I am there. I can feel the heat. It's strange how memory holds temperature better than it holds faces. I can feel the sweat on my collar. I see Arthur. In my mind, I don't check my watch. In my mind, when he says, "The bottles are different," I don't talk about ice cream. I put the bags down. I put them right on the hot asphalt, let the milk spoil, let the frozen dinner thaw into mush. It costs $5. It means nothing. I lean against the car next to him. I cross my arms. I look at him. "Tell me about her," I say. "Tell me about how she handled the medicine." And we stand there, in the sun, for 10 minutes, maybe 20. We talk about his wife. We talk about the confusion of being left behind. We talk about the fear of the empty house. I give him the 10 minutes, and maybe he still dies 2 weeks later. I can't change that. I'm not God. I'm just an old man in a chair. But maybe in those 2 weeks he feels a little less invisible. Maybe he remembers that someone stood with him in the heat and didn't run away. But I can't go back. The asphalt is gone. The car is scrap metal. Arthur is dust. All I have is this room and the light on the wall. It's almost reached the corner now, the light. The shadows are stretching out, long and thin, like fingers reaching for the center of the rug. My tea is definitely cold. My throat feels dry. I should drink it anyway. It's a waste to pour it out. The phone hasn't rung in 3 days. That's all right. I'm learning to be friends with the quiet. I'm learning to listen to the house. It speaks, you know. The floorboards settle. The pipes groan. The wind pushes against the glass. It's a slow language. You have to wait for it. I look at my hands. The skin is like parchment paper. Thin, spotted. The veins are blue ropes under the surface. These hands held the steering wheel. They held the grocery bags. They checked the watch. Now they just rest on the arm of the chair. Trembling slightly, not much. Just a little vibration, like an engine idling. If the phone rang right now, if it rang, I wouldn't rush to pick it up. I would let it ring twice, 3 times. I would lift the receiver gently. Hello, I would say, and I would wait. I would listen to the breath on the other end. I would give them all the time they needed. I have nothing but time now. I have barrels of it, oceans of it. I would ask them how they are, and I would wait for the real answer. But the phone doesn't ring, so I sit. I watch the light fade. I feel the ache in my shoulder. I think about the parking lot. I think about the specific sound of Arthur's voice, that dry, scratching sound. I didn't like it then. It annoyed me. Now I try to summon it. I try to replay it, to hear the nuance I missed. The bottles are different, he said. He meant everything is different. The world has changed shape, and I don't fit in it anymore. I understand, Arthur. I understand now. The bottles are different for me too. The labels are blurry. The caps are hard to twist. I'm sorry I didn't stay. Sun is gone now, the room is gray. The only light comes from the street lamp outside, filtering through the curtains. It casts a pale, artificial square on the carpet. I should get up. I should turn on a lamp. I should go to the kitchen and make a fresh cup of tea. Something warm. But it takes so much effort to stand. You have to gather yourself. You have to convince the knees, the back, the balance. It's a negotiation. So I'll just stay here a little longer. In the dark, it's not scary. The dark is just soft. It's forgiving. It hides the dust. It hides the fact that the chair is worn out. I'll sit here and practice. I'll practice listening. I'll listen to the rain starting. There it is, a tap against the glass, then another, then a steady rhythm. Tap, tap, tap. It's speaking. It's telling a story about the clouds and the wind and the long fall down to the earth. I'm listening. I'm not going anywhere. I'm right here. I have 10 minutes. I have all night. The rain is getting heavier. Sounds like applause. Gentle applause for no one in particular. Just for the fact that we are all still here, enduring. I wonder if Arthur liked the rain. I never asked him. I don't know if he preferred coffee or tea. I don't know what music he listened to in that beige Buick. So many questions I didn't ask. So many small doors I didn't open. That's what conversation is, I think. It's a hallway filled with doors. Most people just walk down the hall looking for the exit. But if you stop, if you turn the handle, there are rooms inside, whole worlds. I walked past all of Arthur's doors. I won't make that mistake again. If I meet someone tomorrow, if the postman comes, if the wrong number calls, I will stop. I will turn the handle. Hello, I will say. It's a rainy one today. And I will mean it. My hand is reaching for the tea now. It's trembling. I grasp the handle of the cup. It's cool to the touch. I lift it. My wrist is weak, but I manage. I take a sip. It's cold, bitter, strong. It tastes like memory. It tastes like regret. But it also tastes like reality. It's here. It's real. I swallow it. I set the cup down. The ceramic clicks against the wood. A sharp sound in the gray room. I am here. I am listening. I am ready to speak if anyone wants to hear. And if not, I will speak to the dark. I will speak to the memory of a man in a parking lot. I'm listening, Arthur, I whisper. The sound of my own voice surprises me. It's old, it's gravelly, but it's soft. I'm listening, and the rain answers.